Contemporary musicals tend to be more aware of minorities such as different racial backgrounds, different sexual or gender orientations, or differently abled in mental health, physical health, or emotional health. However, some musicals are still having problems with making sure that when the musical's main character is male, the female characters are also rounded out. A perfect example of this is the musical Be More Chill, a musical about a straight, cisgender teenage boy that is lacking in female characters and personality for said characters. Be More Chill is a contemporary musical based on a book written in 2004 by Ned Vizzini. The script was written by Joe Tratz, music and lyrics by Joe Iconis. It was originally performed on May 30th, 2015 in a small theater in New Jersey. It didn't gain any more popularity until 2017, when it started to get much more attention online. In 2018, it went from off-Broadway to Broadway in a few short months and continued to gain traction until there were productions in London as well. It was performed right before the pandemic and started being performed again once Broadway reopened. This musical is about a teenage boy named Jeremy trying to survive high school by staying in the background, playing video games with his best friend Michael, and having an unrequited crush on a girl named Christine. However, Jeremy finds that a pill called the SQUIP, Super Quantum Unit Intel Processor, has been starting to be taken by the cool kids, specifically shared with Jeremy by a boy named Rich. This pill causes the user to be influenced by a tiny computer chip in the brain and helps the user to be cooler than they previously were. Jeremy takes one with the sole purpose of getting Christine to like him. Christine Canigula, a girl who loves theater and dramatics of all kinds and lives to go to play rehearsal, is the love interest of this musical. She's the female lead, although she is very different from a typical girl an audience would usually assume to be the love interest of a main character. At the beginning of this musical, she is fawned over by Jeremy because she's pretty and he thinks that she is out of his league. Christine's first song is called I Love Play Rehearsal, and throughout it she sings about how her entire life is based on performing on stage and rehearsing for plays. She seems like more of a shallow character, talking only about herself and the roles that she plays instead of asking anyone else about their lives. Throughout this musical, Christine is asked out by a popular boy named Jake and goes to a party with him, but he ditches her later for his ex-girlfriend, Chloe. During the end of this party, Jeremy asks Christine to go on a date with him. She turns him down, and we see a deeper side to her character at that point. She says that she doesn't want to date anyone else until she knows who she is. She proceeds to leave the party early. Christine is a character who is very stereotypical. She is a drama kid who only talks about that and cares about theater and really not much else. I do not think that she is really an accurate representation of a girl in the real world. There are some parts of her that are more accurate than others. There is a line in the script in which she mentions that she just wants her life to be easy, and she finds that embarrassing to realize. This feels more real to me, the feeling that the world can be so difficult, and you really don't understand that until you are forced into a situation that pushes your feelings out into the open. For most of the show, Christine isn't just pretending to be confident, she is truly confident that she doesn't need anything other than theater. As the show begins, we are introduced to the most popular girl in school, Chloe. She is gossiping to her friends about a different girl who basically told the popular boy, Chloe's ex-boyfriend Jake, that she would have sex with him if he wanted pool. This gossip is specifically Chloe being jealous over her ex-boyfriend, which could be accurate. However, Chloe's introduction is problematic to begin with. She tells a story that someone else told her first, talking loudly to her friend so that everyone else can hear the gossip as well, as she might be exaggerating. This is the stereotype of the popular mean girl, used in many different scenarios. Chloe does not seem to be original at all and is not an accurate portrayal of a girl in real life. Brooke is Chloe's best friend and the second in command of the popular girl crew. She is a little shyer, a little more laid back, but just as stereotypical. She flirts with Jeremy through the show, but only once he has the squib, and becomes more chill and cool to everyone else. She is more insecure than Chloe, fishing for compliments from anyone who will give them to her. Her ex-boyfriend cheated on her, which is why she originally starts being more interested in Jeremy, as he made up a story about a girl named Madeline having dated and cheated on him. Brooke tends not to have her own opinions on things after that, though, only following Chloe's lead, as in a scene where they are encouraging Christine not to date Jake. She says that Jake is gross, and Chloe corrects her in an angry tone that he isn't, siding with her ex-boyfriend despite her original opinion of him.
Do you wanna ride?
Yes. Yes. But I'm supposed to meet my friend Michael.
Oh,
Jeremy, if this is going to work, you have to do as I instruct.
Jeremy. Do you wanna ride? Do you wanna ride? Do you wanna ride? Wanna go far? Do you wanna get? Do you wanna get? Do you wanna get inside my mother's car? Drive it on home, don't you say no, Jerry, can you be coerced? I'm in a snatch, or they won't catch. We gotta stop for frozen yogurt first. Do you wanna ride? Do you wanna ride? Do you wanna ride? Wanna go far? Do you wanna get? Do you wanna get? Do you wanna get inside my mother's car? Drive it on home, don't you say no, Jerry, can you be coerced? Home in a snatch, only one catch. We gotta stop for frozen yogurt first. Barry.
This song is sung by Brooke to Jeremy, with Chloe in the background, when they run into him at the mall. It is one of the only songs Brooke actually gets to sing, and it is problematic all on its own. The only lyrics of the song are Brooke asking Jeremy to ride in her mother's car for her to give him a ride. This is a reference to her asking him to have sex with her, and she doesn't even get any more to her character than wanting him, and Chloe wanting to be with him to make Jake jealous. This song has a reprise, Do You Wanna Hang, during the Halloween party, in which Chloe is trying to get Jeremy to have sex with her instead of Brooke. They are caught by Jake, and Chloe promptly dumps Jeremy to have make-up sex with Jake, as Christine tells Jeremy later. There is no point to either of these girls than to have them flirt with boys and spread rumors about anything, everything, and everyone, including one another. Jenna Rollin is the wannabe popular girl who tends to know everything about everyone. She tries to get into the conversations with Chloe and Brooke, but doesn't get to tell any of her stories since Chloe keeps telling her not to talk. She is another stereotype, but she is a bit of a more accurate portrayal, as later on she reveals her insecurity that she knows everyone else, but no one cares enough to know her. She becomes the first person to get a squib once they start trying to take over the school. However, there is one song that makes all three girls, less accurate portrayals of girls in real life. The song, The Smartphone Hour, Rich Set a Fire, is one of the presentations of the female characters that is not so real regarding girls in the world. It is an entire song with Chloe, Brooke, and Jenna spreading gossip through their phones with no small amount of emojis, OMGs, and claims that they know everything that happened, despite the fact that they weren't actually there at the time of the event. They even claim that Rich told them what happened because he's their best friend, despite the fact that none of them are ever seen even speaking to him. Be More Chill isn't the first musical to have three main female characters being the stereotypical mean girls, who are the most popular ones and who are the most influential in school. The musical Mean Girls, based on the movie with the same title written by Tina Fey, is a good example of this trope. The main girl in this trio is Regina George, fawned over by all and queen of gossip, and telling everyone who is cool and who is not. Brooke and Karen are both alike as well, a little more shy but still liking compliments, and being a little less shallow than they're perceived to be. The last piece to the puzzle is the comparison between Gretchen and Jenna, both the gossiping ones who try too hard to be cool to the main girl, and therefore end up showing their insecurities to the main character at one point. An example of how Regina is another stereotypical mean girl is the song Apex Predator in the Mean Girls musical.
Don't be fooled by the pink. She is not playing dolls. She is stalking the halls for the thrill of the kill. Every person in school is aware of her stare. When she tosses her hair, they go perfectly still. All that I say, don't attack me. Watch them sweat and pant and shake. Every food chain has its acme. Regina George eats steak. She's the queen of beasts. She can smell your fear in this biosphere. She's the apex predator, like a lioness, only with less fur. Do not mess with her. She's the apex predator. At the watering hole, see the girls who weren't nice have to scatter like mice from a jungle cat. And though Janice is great, she does not have this power. People literally cower. Janice can't do that. See us mark our territory as I follow in her train. I was victim, I was quarry. Now I shake my mane. She's the queen of beasts, and I'm in her pride. I have hitched a ride with the apex
problem with these musicals showing such stereotypes toward the female characters is that many girls who watch or perform in these musicals end up basing their own personalities on them. It is problematic that these characters are shown like this, because when a young girl sees Chloe flirting with Jeremy and immediately going back to her ex-boyfriend when she was just trying to make Jake jealous, that girl will think that it is okay to do all of that, to play games with any person she feels like. When she sees Christine eventually give in to dating Jeremy just because he admits that everything he's done, almost destroying the entire world by letting the squib take over, is because of her, that girl will think that if a boy does all of that, he deserves to date her, even if she doesn't actually like him back. It is becoming a serious problem that female characters in the media are so stereotypical, caring about their appearances and the way they appear to other people. In an article in 2015 by Catherine DiMarino, she finds examples of ways that young girls are struggling more and more. One of the examples is that girls as young as 6 are expressing body image dissatisfaction, according to a doctor in Toronto who works in the eating disorder department at the hospital there. This is getting worse and worse, and small girls who shouldn't even be worried about this idea of other people's opinions are worrying about exactly that. Another problem with this musical is the lack of female characters as a whole. Looking at the very beginning of the script, with a list of characters, only 4 out of the 10 named characters in this play are female. Throughout the play, the only things that the female characters talk about when they have a full conversation with each other is gossip, boys, or how hot they look. Even Jeremy's mother is absent from the picture, only mentioned once by Jeremy's best friend, Michael, when they talk about how she moved on and Jeremy's dad can't. This feels like a barely there excuse for there to be so few female characters, especially when the audience looks at what these female characters are to the entire play. Christine only exists for Jeremy to have a crush on. Without her, the play would just be about Jeremy trying to be cool, but she still isn't a very deep character. Chloe only exists for the purpose of keeping Jake away from Christine eventually, so that Jeremy can be with her. Brooke only exists to keep Jeremy distracted from Christine. Jenna only exists so that gossip can be spread about what all of the boys are doing, and the squib is even portrayed as male. The only female option presented to Jeremy is sexy anime girl. All of the female characters in this musical exist only to be there for the male characters, whether it is to attract, distract, or talk about them. This musical doesn't even pass the Bechdel test. This is a simple test with 3 rules that a piece of literature or a work of fiction must pass. The first is that the work must have 2 or more women in it, which Be More Chill passes. The second is that these women must talk to each other, another pass. But the third is that this conversation between 2 women must concern something other than a man. This musical does not pass that third one. An important thing to note is that the book Be More Chill, written in 2004 by Ned Vizzini, is a very different portrayal of female characters than the musical is. In the book, Christine is presented as much more headstrong, with her own ideas about how dating works, how the fact that the theater teacher makes the girls get all of the chairs for the first rehearsal is discriminatory, and talks about the Constitution. And she is a sarcastic, sassy, think-for-yourself kind of girl. She doesn't seem to care what people think of her at all, and is much more confident about speaking out than she is in the musical. She even actually goes out with Jake, not just shyly admitting to Jeremy that she likes the popular boy in a song, and not doing anything about it. Brooke and Chloe are different too, as Chloe is still one of the popular girls, but Anne is a different character who replaces Brooke as Chloe's best friend. Chloe is the first girl Jeremy flirts with, but he does end up trying to hook up with Brooke in a different friend group. The book also has a lot more female characters, named although they don't talk much. The ending of the book is different as well, where Christine rejects Jeremy during the play and never even gets a squib to begin with. Another important point that the musical changed is the fact that Jeremy's mother is not only in the picture, but is still married and lives with Jeremy and his father. She and his dad even have a divorce lawyer business together. It had to have been a choice by the playwright to change the entire story from the original, with strong female characters. The girls in the play are flat, only with a few character traits, while in the book they're more layered and don't just exist for Jeremy. Another example of the lack of character in the girls in this show is trying to describe them. An article comparing a few musicals and how they don't pass the Bechdel test says this about the characters. Aside from what I've just told you, there isn't much else to dig into. The problem isn't just that the girls are stereotypical, it's that there isn't much to them. They only exist to be the stereotypes, not much else. Be More Chill was written by a man, but the book was definitely more accurate to real-life girls and women than the play was. The two men writing the musical had to have been focusing more on the problems of technology and social media being a problem in the world than the problems of how the female characters in this musical are actually portrayed in their lines and their directions. In this play, Christine, Chloe, Brooke, and Jenna are all stereotypical, portraying overused tropes such as the mean popular girls and the drama kids who don't care about anyone but themselves. In the larger social and cultural context, this musical is problematic towards its female characters, and it could have done better. In this world, we have to protect how girls can see characters and display their lives after them. The characters in this musical are not a good example of that.